yes, a follow-up, Chisbell.
Getting back to the library,
Yep.
with which I had very little to do.
Oh, I don't believe
No,
that.
I was not a library
Okay.
town then, but I remember,
I wish.
I don't know whether they're there today or not, there used to be 1 or 2 lions on the, on either side of the steps. You remember that?
Yeah.
And one Halloween, one of them landed up on the roof of the library. And that was the big scandal in news in Seeker around Halloween that
Oh,
year.
great story. Was the mystery ever solved? Who put it up
Used to
there?
go every year.
No,
Giants,
it was the
remember? It was on.
You might have been the, what part of the
I was a little guy.
If he had done it, he was
It
hit.
was the,
It was, is Victoria. You know where the Victorias
Yes,
live?
those lines.
There were 2 lions there.
Yeah.
And those, they will weigh about 300 pounds. And every new Halloween, one was little over by the Clifton Park. And he put it some on top of the school too. There must have been horses to lift these things. How they did it.
well, they took one of the, there was a big cast iron dog on Prospect Avenue.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was, down the hill, two houses on Prospect. And he was, had a big cast iron dog, which was moved every Halloween. And it ended up on the courthouse steps in Mineola.
Oh, I love
That's wonderful.
it. You know, Gene, I was intrigued when you mentioned the Royal Scarlet, because I remember that as, 4 or 5 or whatever, as Happy Joe's. We used to call it Happy Joe's. I don't know whether anyone remembers that. Joe Schneider. Joe Schneider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Otto Kaufman. You remember Otto Kaufman?
He was opposite the street.
Okay, I don't remember Otto. So would someone like to tell us about Otto? Audrey, would you tell us about Otto?
Well, the Kaufmans had 2 stores. One was a deli and one was a hardware store.
Oh, they never got them mixed up.
No. Sometimes Otto was in one and the other was run, but one was right across from Levine's and the other one was
Now,
across.
where across from Levine's? So on
The
Sequel
last-
Avenue?
Where the art studio.
On Roslyn Avenue.
Roslyn Avenue.
Roslyn
Okay.
Avenue.
Okay.
And that was where the hardware store, right on the corner, and then the fire department.
That was the son who had
That
that.
was all,
The father
Had the other store, right,
Yeah.
and which was a delicatessen.
Otto was also known as Willie.
That's right.
Okay.
Willie Kaufman.
He
Well,
was
well, they
great,
come.
big.
It was the best hardware store.
And how were the sandwiches?
Oh, and that's around the corner of the deli. It was great. They had great dill pickles.
Were there a barrel of pickles in there?
We went to buy pickles.
Well, I remember going, and I'd go in with my mother, and Joe would always give a slice of bologna to me. That began my weight gain, unfortunately. But it was yummy. It was yummy. Yes, Chiz?
Otto Kaufman also was the winner of every schoolyard fight we had on the playground. Nobody.
Now, Chiz, it doesn't sound good that a German was winning schoolyard fights during World War II. Okay, so he was able to protect himself.
I remember.
All right, how about some more memories?
Well, 1936, 7, and 8 is when the WPA went down from Glencoe Avenue, Glen Avenue, all the way down to Prospect, and put new curbs and everything. And it took them about 3 or 4 years. And they stretched it out, and then when it come down on Prospect Avenue, coming down to the water, that was done by WPA.
So those blue sidewalks that we used to have, you remember that?
Oh, that's slate.
That's like
No,
were they
this
from the
was
WPA?
concrete.
Slave.
This
No,
was
they
concrete.
picked those up.
This was concrete. They picked those up and they put cement in.
Yeah, and that was all
Leave
taken
it
back.
to government. Okay.
Yeah, that's just before World War II.
Central.
Okay, so we had a WPA.
Oh,
project here.
big thing. Oh, nobody had it. Everybody was dying. I mean, financially, physically, everything. These people don't realize. We have a problem today.
Yes, we do.
The way everybody was selling apples
Yeah.
for a
I
dollar.
remember the American Legion
Yes, Jane.
took one of the stores down here, and the government brought in, on Friday, flour came in, on another day, rice came in, and then the American Legion guys would man that store. you know, like my father had rice on Fridays.
Okay.
And you'd be there to dole out the rice, and people in
Wow.
Seacliff needed it,
And where would they do that, Gene?
right out of the store down there.
On
It's
Seacliff
one of those
Avenue?
little stores, yeah.
Okay.
The government truck would come and unload whatever it was for the week, you know.
Wow.
And then the guys, the American Legion, would dole it out.
Okay. So it was, yeah.
We have the
Very
paper,
desperate time.
paper drive, remember the paper drive, John? No, maybe not.
Dean, tell us about the paper drives.
Well, the paper drive, every once a week, they would go with an open truck, and the American Legion would go around to your home, and they would get, at that time, they used to pay 50 cents 100, I think, something like that. Would you, Chaz, would you remember? You don't remember the
I remember, I know what they got.
well, they got paid.
I was
Now
somewhere.
you gotta get paid to get rid of them. But back then, during World War II, that paper was recycled and everything. And it was a fun thing for the American Legion. What does it called? I'm trying to name it a post.
James F. Pringle.
Bringle.
Gregor, that's it. And he
Absolutely.
got killed, right? He was.
2 generations.
2 generations, yeah.
This is
Lee, would you come up and share some memories?
She knows.
For us?
Well, we know where they're buried.
I have relatives buried in the cemetery right by the school.
The Indians.
Yeah. Lee, come on up.
Go on up.
I don't have any further things.
Well, maybe there's.
You know, open the grave there once?
Gene,
That
let's
was
at least speak.
Dr. Istok was Hungarian,
Right.
and when they had the communists taking over Hungary, they had plane loads of the people coming here. And they were staying, a lot of them were staying at Dr. Istok's house.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he owned that house. Who owned that house?
Dr. Istok.
Oh, I'm
That was
going
an
back
island
100
house.
years
I don't go
ago.
back as far as you do.
Well, no, I'm just saying, this was, Islands. They had gold mines and everything. And it started from Glenlawn all the way to the water. They were huge. If you see those street, what do they call it?
Yeah,
When you
all
drive.
Woodridge Lane.
So we started talking about Woodridge Lane. Was that an Eiler property?
Oh, yeah, the whole
Okay.
thing.
Okay,
You see the
fascinating.
water. That is where the former judge, he's dead now, and now the Russians bought it. He's a billionaire. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, next to Dr. Ishtar.
Yeah.
It's,
Glenlawn Avenue. You
yeah,
said.
but that originally was owned by Eilers. And Eilers was, there was some very wealthy living here. Today we have a lot of people living here too. And I wish they would.
That's for another day.
This
Yes,
is memories, not current.
yeah, we have a question here in the front.
I'm not from Seacliff, I'm from Queens originally. But we had an expression, I just want to know how many people here know the expression. If you know it, just raise your hand. Rushing the growler,
Yeah,
you know it?
yeah.
Rushing the growler, do you have any idea what that
I
is?
don't know what that means. Would you translate?
Is it a local one?
When we were kids, we used to watch John Canning, who'll say, go down the street with a container with a lid on it.
Yeah.
And he would go to the bar, because they didn't have bottled beer or canned beer. So that was called rushing the growler when you went down. And if you saw John Canning go twice, you know he was really drinking that night.
The growler was the name of the container.
Okay.
So
And
it
it
was
was
called
called
Rushing
Rushing the Growler.
And another thing,
Okay, yeah.
another thing with Queens, where I lived, our claim to fame was that Houdini was buried 2 blocks away. And his name was Weiss, Eric Weiss. And what they used to do on the tombstone, they used to have his bust up there. But what happened, every year at Halloween, he was supposed to reincarnate, if you know about that. But they used to steal the bust, so they don't put it on anymore.
But I think Houdini lived in Glenwood Landing as well.
No, he come on Sundays, on the summertime. And he was on the corner of Hawthorne and Arlington and,
That's an urban myth. I'm not sure if that's true.
he is, it's
I'm
true,
not
he
sure
would,
about
he would come in the summertime and he would have the kids come and have a,
Magic.
do a play for him.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Do
And
we
there
have-
was what's the name that died on 103? That was one of his workers with him. She was 103, just died.
Do we have other memories? Yes, Carol.
I wanted just to add a little bit about the pavilion and
Sure.
what he was right about everybody spending the whole summer
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Rain or shine.
Rain or
because-
shine. That's right. Yeah.
Because they played cards
Yeah.
and there was a shuffleboard and you'd hang out there. even
And Carol, that was
raining.
upstairs? That was upstairs,
No,
Carol?
that was on the
Downstairs.
main level.
Okay.
And one of the things that I remember is I learned to smoke.
Me too.
At the pavilion. You know, they had these little lockers and we, like 3 or 4 girls would share the locker for the summer. And 3 or 4 girls would sit in the locker
And smoke.
and smoke. And we thought we were so smart that nobody knew what we were doing, but there was like chicken wire on the top. And it was like the smoke was coming out on the top. And, you know, but it was,
That's funny.
Does anyone remember the pavilion fire? I think that was in
Yes.
the early or mid-60s. Would someone, can you recall that for us? Maybe stand up and tell us about
I
it?
know about that.
Or Gene, would you describe it?
It was New Year's Day, wasn't it?
It was just.
No, it was they 3 times or 4 times they tried to put on fire. And then they succeeded about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And my father was over on 15 Cedar Place.
Right.
And he says, I don't understand. He says, what is the sun gutting up in the west? Is the sun is supposed to be in the east? And it was such a fire, was tremendous. One of the fire trucks melted, and when you come the next day, and the poor Mayor Stiles, he was talking. He was devastated because they had spent $25,000 to just fix it all up, and then it went on fire. And there was all you could see were the pilings left. It was all gone.
Phyllis, what is your recollection?
The way the fire started, I understood, was that there were a group of vagrants
Yeah.
cooking their food under
Well, I
the,
could have been
and then
true,
it
too.
just got out of hand and they.
And what year was that, Phyllis?
Early 60s.
Yes, it was after 65. We lived in Glen Cove, and we could see it. We just got married.
Wow.
We could see it
But
from
that
Glen
sand
Cove.
remained black all the way down for several summers. That sand was black, black, black. And you would come off the beach and you would be black up to your ankles. My dad was treasurer of Seacliff at the time.
And your father was Ralph
Ralph
Pontifex.
Pontifex.
Yep.
And they hauled in at great expense all new sand. Oh, everyone was so happy. Then next year they had very high tides and out went the sand.
So, right.
yeah. We also
Yeah,
had,
Lee.
we had the summer theater, if you remember.
Well, there's another place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And that
Lee,
was
tell us
very-
about that.
That was, it's a beautiful old-fashioned
Tabernacle.
It was the tabernacle.
Tabernacle. And we would have summer Sunday school there. They also ended up having plays there, off-Broadway plays with the big actors and that. And the locals would act as, not hostesses, but stewards, you know. which was
Ushers?
Ushers, yeah.
Sure.
And it was very nice. And then that was burned down too.
What was that? There was a fire for that, did you say?
Oh,
That
tremendous.
was about 1951.
And most people know, but Lee, tell us where it was located. Most people know that.
Main Street.
Main Avenue.
It was at the north end of Main Avenue, as I
Right,
understand it.
yes, yes, yes. And it was a beautiful building.
It was a pain in the neck.
Why? Why?
Why? Because Saturday night they would have the performances, and you couldn't park any place.
Tell it to Marie.
There's always a killjoy there.
So, yes, Carol.
It actually burned in 1956. And,
This is the tabernacle?
yeah, and I was living with Buddy's family. And
Okay.
he was a fireman, so he went off, and I was dying to go to the fire, and his father, I said, "Do you want to go to the fire?" And he said, "Yeah." So we went to the fire. So I actually saw the fire. But some of the local residents, like, were in some of the shows,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that lived near the summer theater, and we live in a place where probably we would have benefited from this, you'd get free tickets.
We did.
We did.
We did. We saw all the
You get
plays.
free tickets for all the plays because, you know, the parking would be always in front of your house.
Sure.
But it was a good deal for the residents, and I guess
Oh,
it
that's
kept
great.
them less
The stores-
complaining
Yeah,
about
they
it.
hated them parking.
But, it was.
Oh, Carol, thank you. And Audrey, you remember this, getting free tickets? Tell us about that.
I worked as an usher there like Lee did, but we were able to, they allowed us, the kids of Seacliff, to sit outside and look through the windows, so we got to see all the plays. And Lillian Gish was one of the.
Everett,
Yeah,
Everett
and
Ford.
it was great because that was our weekends, we just lived there, I mean, we had to go to the
wonderful.
theater. And
We didn't get paid or anything.
No, we just
But
loved
we
it.
saw all the plays.
There was
All
a
the
split
plays.
rail
That was
fence
like 52
outside the side of the summer theater, and the teenagers would come and sit on the, they had these windows that opened not this way, but this way. So, the kids would sit on the split rail fence and watch the shows from outside. It was really
Except the
kind of
stores
neat.
were always left
Oh, great.
with unpaid bills.
I'm sorry, Gene, what was
At
that?
the end of the season, the stores were left with unpaid bills.
From the actors and the how many?
From
Chiz!
Somebody might be able to sharpen my memory, but after the Tabernacle came down and had no more summer plays, I think it came to the back of the village hall. We had summer theater there for
Yeah.
many years, because I remember Edward Everett Horton was in about every other play they put on there.
No,
There was
you're
a theater in
saying,
the back of the.
let me just get this straight. You're saying on 12th Avenue? On 12th Avenue?
In the
No,
back
it's
of your
Secret.
building there.
On the back, so it would be on 12th Avenue or Seacliff
Seacliff.
There
Avenue?
was access from the Secret Avenue.
Seacliff Avenue. So they would
Yeah,
do it
theater.
right on, a show right on Seacliff
That's where the
Avenue.
summer theater was, I
That's
believe.
fascinating.
And they used to show movies too.
Yeah, Gene, tell us about that. I've heard about that. They used to show movies
Yeah.
at the village hall.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Gene, could you describe that?
I don't remember them.
Okay.
But I,
Yeah, so who remembers it? Were they inside? Were they outside?
They were inside. I went with my grandmother and they were
I think it was
inside.
down in the basement.
And no, it was up on the floor, on the main
The
floor, and then there was a
prisoners.
stage at the back. That's where they had the theatricals.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the actors got dressed down in the cells in the basement.
Oh, how fascinating. So the shows in Village Hall were inside. They were inside the building. Okay, just so I'm clear. Sally?
I just remember
Yeah.
Charlie's mother used to babysit for, Prue Hurley's husband, I can't remember.
Charles?
Yeah, Charlie.
Charlie Hurley.
Hurley.
Charlie's
Village
mother
historian.
used to babysit for him, so his mother could go and play the piano at the movies.
At the movies?
Yes.
For the movies.
Oh, that's a great
Maybe it
story.
was Charlie's grandmother, it must have been his grandmother.
Oh, that's a great story. I know, Chiz, were you at those movies? Do you remember?
No,
Okay.
we weren't moviegoers.
You were, and you had to pay to get into the Bellflower. No, I'm joking. But
When you
Chiz, yeah,
When you're finished with the movies or the village hall,
yeah. Let's go.
I
We'll
thought maybe you'd like
segue.
to hear some of the history of this room here.
Well, that would be great. Would you mind coming up to tell that to
Well,
us?
I'll tell you,
And maybe the history of the Methodist Church here.
it's too hard to get around.